right, today we've got a special guest with us, Mr. Theron Lowry, but we're talking about Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 3. We finally made it. And all I got to say is ding dong, the multiverse is dead.
Hello there. So who talks first? You talk first. I talk first.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Two Geeks and a Microphone. I am your co-host, Mr. Steven Boster, along with the one, the only, Mr. Mike Shanks. Mike, say hey to everybody.
Good morning to all you geeks out there in Geekdom Land.
And now also we have Theron Lowry with us again, joining us because he was with us when we did part 1. He was with us when we did part 2. And now he is with us doing part 3. Theron, thanks for joining us. Say hey to everybody.
Hey, how you doing, listeners, viewers online, everybody that's out there that survived the multiverse and the monitor.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Steven, try not to make me laugh during the intro. That was pretty funny, though. Ding dong, the multiverse is dead.
That's right.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I got news for you. It never dies.
It never dies, but everybody, well, we're going to have some interesting conversations. One of our regular listeners will know I'm not a multiverse fan. But so we continued with this interesting series, which is based on a comic book series, and we'll talk all about that. And but we're glad that you're joining us here today. Theron, thank you for joining us to kind of completing out the trilogy.
Yes.
On this, so it's great to have you again. And so with that, I guess we need to go ahead and roll into our wonderful news.
Oh,
all right. Did you say you had news? You had news?
I have no news. That's why I was wondering why you were doing that. I mean, I have a rumor if we want to discuss it. But
yeah, let's do the rumor because it's gonna make some sparks fly. By golly.
Okay, yeah. Well, I kind of agree with that. Okay, so I just started hearing yesterday and this morning that supposedly Disney is now delving more into the EU and they are bringing in Mara Jade into the universe. I have feelings on this. Well, let me start with they actually do have Mara Jade's lightsaber hilt for sale today on their merch website or whatever. $325 just for the hilt, not for the blade. You have to buy the blade separately.
Really?
I've heard that once you plug in the blade, it will light up purple like her lightsaber does. Technically, she was the first one with the purple blade. not in live action, but you know.
No, but in the original Thrawn trilogy,
yes.
The first one, I guess, is because now there's
the original one. The original.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had the purple blade in the original Thrawn trilogy. Anyway,
Emperor's hand.
And they've released a few Mara Jade action figures and stuff. I do have one. I have one of the Black Series ones, which I would like very much. But there is a rumor that they are going to work on story treatment for a Mara Jade story. Now, I don't know how in the world that's going to work with the current Star Wars timeline. How do you bring Mara Jade in? There's no way she's going to become Luke's wife in this timeline. The age gap is going to be there. It's not going to work. So that.
Oh gosh, I'm going to say it. We need a Star Wars multiverse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about Disney at this point.
In my head canon, there already is a Star Wars multiverse.
Yeah.
Anyway, Because in my head canon, I don't think the new Star Wars even exists. I'm just saying, especially the sequel trilogy. But the rumor right now is they are supposedly going to cast Zendaya as Zendaya as Mara Jade, and I don't think that's good casting myself. I was saying before we started that my choice would actually be Megan, give me the name.
Karen Gillian.
It would be Karen Gillian, formerly of Doctor Who fame. Yes.
Yeah. Well, Zendaya, I think, in my opinion, one would be too young for the role.
Depends on where they're starting Mara Jade at. I mean, if they're starting her at the very beginning with the Emperor, it might work. But
maybe.
Yeah, it all depends on where they're starting her in the timeline.
Yeah.
But I do agree. For the most part, I think she's too young.
Karen Gillian's got some good action chops. We were talking. We were talking briefly about that. Of course, we've seen her in Doctor Who. Or you have. I haven't. I'm not a Doctor Who guy. But then there is.
She was in Jumanji.
She was in Jumanji. I'm pretty sure it was Netflix. Gunpowder Milkshake. That was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it.
I might have to look this up.
Theron, have you seen it? Gunpowder Milkshake?
Yeah, that was on Netflix. Mm-hmm.
It is Netflix. Okay.
It kind of reminds me. It was a very action-oriented movie, so it's very fast-paced. Not like your John Wick style, but it reminds me.
It would remind me of John Wick a little bit. Not
a little bit.
Full gunplay of that, but an assassin world. Yes.
Yes, it's more like Anywhere, Everywhere, All the Time. It has that type of feel to it.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that.
That is a good movie. Or like Love Hurts.
That's a multiverse too, Steven.
Oh, that's probably why I haven't seen it.
It has a.
Sorry, I haven't seen it, but that's what I've heard. It's a multiverse story.
Anyway. Yes, it is. It's definitely a time traveling love quarrel that happens throughout the movie. It's a really good movie, and it has some of the same actors that in Love Hurt at the same too. It's really good.
Gotcha. And she was also in Guardians of the Galaxy. So, yeah. I think Karen Gillian would have been a better choice, in my opinion. Granted, this is still rumor. As far as I know, Disney has not made an official announcement that, one, they're even doing this, two, they are even talking about casting yet, and three, even if story treatment has started for it. So, again, all just rumor, speculation. I don't know. I'm just saying, if you're not going to do Mara Jade right, please don't touch her. Just leave her alone. Leave her to the EU.
You can also do Anya Taylor-Joy. She's hot right about now, and she got those big old cat eyes. That's the lady that played in Queen's Gambit. She's in Netflix right now, and The Menu. She played in
The
bunch of good movies.
The Menu was a good movie. That was a trip. And then The Gorge is the new one that she's in. I haven't seen it yet, but the clips that I've seen are really make it look really interesting.
And then she did Mad Max. She played Furiosa, young Furiosa, in that movie as well.
I have not seen that yet. I've heard it's pretty good.
She was in Mad Max. I haven't seen that new Mad Max.
That was
the new one, Furiosa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She played a really good role in that. So that's another possibility right about now that could be really good for that.
My only concern with Star Wars is
and she has been a redhead too.
She's getting red.
Well, I'm sorry. The redhead is important to the Mara Jade character, in my opinion.
That's why I said I didn't tell her. Joy. I was like, she's like perfect for that role. But the other lady as well too. So Karen is
Sorry, Steven, we cut you off.
That's all right. I forgot what I was going to say, so it must not have been important.
Did it slip into the multiverse?
And then
we're gonna do that a lot, by the way.
And then the Andy Monitor put it into the bleed.
Right on. Well played, gentlemen. Well played. You know what? I'll just do a T-shirt of me coming through into the bleed, saying "No more multiverse."
That would be pretty cool, actually.
That's a scary thing right there.
I like that. We need an artist. We need an
Mhm.
artist.
We need an artist. I can print them now.
There you go.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. All right, so okay, so that's it. Well, we just had to talk about the rumor on all that, everybody, just because it was interesting. Star Wars rumors are pretty much. I don't put any faith in them because we just had the whole Kathleen Kennedy's leaving. No, she's not. She's leaving. No, she's not. Kind of
Yeah, that's
fiasco.
the reason I
So-
haven't even talked about it is because there was a big to do about it, and I had heard it even from some people. I was like, "Whoa, they don't even talk about Star Wars." I mean, not really as a regular topic, and I'm like, and it's hitting those news networks too, and I'm like, "Wow, okay, maybe she really is leaving." And then I heard that also, no, she's not really leaving. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So
Mhm.
I don't know whether she's leaving or not, and I'm just going to leave it right there.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll be a wonderful thing when she does.
Yeah,
It just
amen to
needs new
that.
direction, and it's not even. It just it needs fresh eyes. It needs new direction. It needs But anyway, that's a whole
It
nother stuff. We do a whole story on that. All
This
right.
is true. This is true.
Okay, everybody. Well, next up for bids, it's time for Dar.
Go with the radar, sir.
What's wrong with it?
I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps.
The what? The what? And the what?
You know, the bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps.
That's not all he's lost.
Okay,
All right. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Well, mine is I got to be careful. So, one, I'm continuing to watch Reacher, and loving it. So I'm excited about us doing. Everybody, we did do a first 3 episode show, and I've been keeping up with it, and I got Kelly to start watching it. And she started binging it. So I was like, oh, I'll watch it again with you. Well, I fell asleep because I was just really tired and I'm on new drugs. I'm just kidding. So medications. But so I fell asleep. I think she watched almost 3 episodes that night. She just had to binge,
I understand.
So been watching that. So I'm pretty excited. And I'm getting caught up on Invincible 3 for next week. So
Yeah, me too.
I'm pretty excited about that. Boy, do I have questions. So,
Mhm.
all right. So that's all I've been trying to catch up on openly is are just kind of keeping up with the show for us. So, but
Nice.
everybody, please listen in when we finish Reacher 3, when we do Invincible 3 season 3 next week.
Mhm.
Those are gonna be some good episodes.
Okay. Darren, you got anything?
Yes, I just finished out Dragon Ball Daima, and boy, that show has so many similarities to Dragon Ball GT, because Dragon Ball GT technically wasn't like Akira Toriyama's vision for how that series is supposed to go. So it was actually a series that he finished out before he passed away. If I'm not mistaken, it was like last year or the year before last, one of the two. But either way, they showcase the ultimate, or the Super Saiyan 4 character, which wasn't technically canon in the Dragon Ball Z lore. If you didn't really look at if you take GT out of it, it was always Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3. Then it was a God. Then it was a Super Saiyan God. Then it was a Super Saiyan God Blue, and all this stuff like that. So this one actually ties it into the actual canon of the series. Now, granted, he was able to do that because
Is it
he
this
got
one?
yeah, that's the one that's currently on Netflix right about now. So Goku ended up getting the tail because obviously he ended up getting shrunk down to a little kid, and he didn't get his tail when the series was actually ongoing. But let's put it like this: he was able to achieve Super Saiyan 4 status, not the one that we remember as when we were kids throughout GT. But he ended up going to where he didn't go Great Ape, which what we call Great Ape is his primal phase with the tail. He actually just went straight into the Super Saiyan 4, beat up the bad guy. I don't want to spoil too much of the show. I want you to watch it so you can kind of get the full context of it. And then they all just went home. That's the end of the series. So it was one of those things where I would say, as far as a Dragon Ball Z fanboy and stuff like that, it was finally it's finally a good moment where they actually made a staple to how that character came to be, based off of what happens after that, which is the introduction of Beerus, Tournament of Power, stuff like that. They haven't really figured out how to tie those two together, but for the most part, he is capable of actually learning how to go Super Saiyan 4. But this is only in the demon world versus the regular world that he's accustomed to.
So you said the original creator has passed away.
Yeah.
And so you are happy with the continuation since he's passed away then?
Yeah, I like the direction of this art style. Basically, when he retained control over the project after the trilogy had took went on hiatus for a long time, and then when it came back with Dragon Ball Super, and then you had Tournament of Power and a bunch more videos and movies and stuff like that. It's like, where's the direction of this franchise going to go? And what Diamond actually made it clear that they actually tied in the GT lore, but they switched out the characters. Like it was a character that played as Trunks, but he was a different variation of Trunks and Pan and so on and so forth. So it was really good. It was a really good series.
Good. I'm glad to hear somebody took over an IP who has love for the material.
The original creator
Right.
got it back and then made it his vision and said, okay, this is how I want these characters to go out. And It was really good.
Very good. All right. So my Geekdar, I got my latest Rippaverse book.
Oh,
Seen
yeah.
That was nice, man. I like
That's
it.
a nice cover. That's the special cover, the foil
Yes.
cover, right?
Yeah.
I splurged on this one. That was $50, man.
Holographic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful, beautiful.
It looks great.
I haven't read the book yet.
The picture you sent didn't do it justice. Seen on the video there.
Oh man,
Holy cow.
I hope it comes across good on the video because it's just an amazing
So-
cover. It's
So
good.
how's the book?
I haven't read it yet.
Oh.
I haven't had time. But I do plan on reading it soon, and I'll give you a short little synopsis
Yeah.
of it once I read it and everything.
Okay.
I'm at a conundrum with
and I am wearing my Bloodruth t-shirt.
Bloodruth shirt. Yeah. I'm at a conundrum with the Rippaverse stuff because I'm like, oh my gosh, he's got all these books going on. I can't just get all of them now. I can't afford it.
I
So-
know. I'm wondering if I'm going to have to take out a second job just to be able to afford Rippaverse now.
Right?
It's like, hey, Eric, slow down a little bit.
Yep. Oh, by the way, did you tell your wife you spent $50 on that book?
I did on the air a few weeks back. She knew that. I can stop that right now.
Just sponsorship money. There you go.
Anyway, so yeah, I got Bloodruth. That was one thing. I have been watching lately. I've keeping up on Reacher also. I also started watching Daredevil.
Oh, me
just-
too. Yes.
We gotta have an episode on Daredevil.
Yeah,
'Cause-
we
There are things that I'm really, really happy about, and things that I'm really not happy about.
Oh, okay. So maybe we have to do a special episode this week or something.
Oh, I kind of like the sound of that. We might have
Okay.
to do that because
All right.
things happened, and I went, "What?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and
Yes.
oh my gosh, Daredevil is just so awesome. He's so freaking awesome.
All I can say is if you have been on the fence on whether or not to watch the show, because we now are in this weird Disney era of ownership of Marvel and the TV shows and stuff, I would 100% say watch it. Watch.
Daredevil is the only Marvel property that I've actually been excited about seeing over the last year.
Well, you've got Charlie
Yeah.
Cox back. You've got Vincent D'Onofrio back. I mean, and some other stuff that we'll talk about we'll do a special episode. We'll figure that out.
The Punisher's coming back. Oh,
Right, I saw
I
that
just saw that
too.
too. Yeah, Punisher.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm so
Make
excited.
it-
Oh,
Mhm.
anyway, so yeah, I started watching Daredevil. Very happy with what I've got, but I do have a slight little complaint, and we'll have to talk about that later. Other than that, what was the other thing I was watching? I started watching House of David.
Your wife just put that on there. Okay, so tell me your thoughts on House of David.
So far I enjoy it. It started off a little weird, because I was like, wait a minute, that's not the way the story goes. But you also have, I think it's David who's also interpreting the story as it goes along, and he says, can one stone change the course of history? So in
Okay.
the opening scene, you see David charging Goliath and getting ready to sling the stone, and then Goliath actually hits him with a spear, and he drops dead. And I'm going, whoa, wait a minute, that's messed up.
That's not the story.
But
Yeah.
then you get the line, can one stone change the course of history? And I was like, okay, I get it. They're showing what would alternatively happen if David didn't hit Goliath. Okay.
Biblical multiverse.
That is a good segue. We're gonna
No,
stay on that. We're gonna double back to that one. I like
I
that.
wouldn't say that's a multiverse. It's just
Yeah, okay.
it's giving you another side. Anyway, so far I think this story has been, for the most part, biblically accurate. They've had to do some stuff and fill some things in here and there that are not told in the Bible.
Kind of like how they did The Chosen a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd say I'm pretty happy with what I've
Okay. And
seen.
this is on Prime, right? Amazon Prime.
Yes, it's on
Okay,
Amazon
okay.
Prime. It's being released every Thursday, I believe, and they're at
Okay.
like episode 4, I think. So,
Yep.
so far I'm in it. I'm in for the long ride so far. So,
Right on.
Hey,
Hey, Angie.
Hey.
You
so
said that
that's
just in time.
my Geek Dar for today.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. Well, everybody, let's get into it. It's time for the main event. Ah, yes.
We don't have
We're just
problems. That's
all
just
over
happy
the map
accidents.
today. It's all good. So, all right. Hey, everybody. We are talking about Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3 today. Of course, they're talking about multiverse. And for those who may not be aware, we probably should do kind of a recap a little bit on 1 and 2. What would be the best way to explain kind of Crisis on Infinite Earths, the whole storyline arc in general? I'm not saying specifically the TV, the film series, but really it's based upon a comic book, a whole, kind of comic books. What would be a good way to explain the big picture?
So in the comic books, the idea with the comic books, Crisis is kind of the birth of the crossover, crossover. What's the word I'm looking for? It's
Too
the
many
part of-
Earths in the void.
What's that?
There's too many Earths out there. Too many
Right,
different iterations of.
Well, what I'm saying is, in the comic book industry, it's what started the whole crossover craze.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was, as far as I know, it was the first giant crossover that any of the comic book companies had done. And the idea behind Crisis was, so DC had created, quote unquote, the multiverse so that they could keep characters from different eras. So you could still have characters from the Golden Age, the Silver Age, and keep different aged fans happy. And in some ways it's a good thing, some ways it's a bad thing, but eventually it got too much for DC to handle, and keep up with storylines and stuff. So they came up with this idea: we are going to destroy the multiverse and combined it into one universe and
Mhm.
make everything neat and tidy, and which they did, and the original series was good for that. And then later they decided to explode it all and do
Yeah.
more and more multiverses as the years went on. So
So I'm reading a note that it was a 1985 to 1986 comic book crossover series by DC Comics, written
Yes.
by Marv Wolfman and penciled by George Perez.
yep, who are the
Mhm.
also the creative team for the new Teen Titans in the 80s too.
Mhm.
Hashtag my Teen Titans.
Okay. Okay, Mike.
Oh, God.
It's just my favorite era of the Teen Titans. That's all.
Sure.
I love the Teen Titans no matter what, but that is my ultimate favorite era. Megan's favorite era would be the Teen Titans television series from the early 2000s, and that would be
The-
my second favorite.
That's the
Yeah.
Powder Puff Girl looking one.
Wow. You talking about the animated art style for it?
It's called the
Made it art
Teen Titans Power.
It looks like the Powder Puff Girls kind of a
It's
look
not
to it.
Powder Puff, it's Power Puff.
He said powder puff.
Yeah,
I did
that
say
is
Powder Puff,
hilarious.
didn't I? I did say it. Oh gosh.
and Megan was about ready to go ham sandwich on you too.
She's about to jump through the screen. Sorry, Megan.
Because Powerpuff Girls was her favorite when she was little. Yeah, she and I bonded over the Powerpuff Girls.
So yeah, I think Mike hit the nail on the head. There were too many different ages of characters that crossed over. I mean that was created and it satisfied generations of genres of folks that like their element of like Batman, like the 90s Batman, or you can have the kids who like the Brave and the Bold, or this variation of Flash. So a lot of those things were pretty much center around that. Anyways, the current version of the multiverse, we already know right off the bat that in the first movie, something is wiping out all these different variations of Earth, and the Flash has something to do with it. And the thing about that is that we don't know why that occurred. Now, that was the first. I don't want to go too much into detail about it, but the first Crisis on Infinite Earth is trying to figure out, okay, how can we kind of save the Earths that we have remaining, and Barry is going to help us do it. I'm giving it to that particular detriment. You introduce characters like the Monitor, and then you introduce characters like Harbinger and everything that's basically riling up all of the greatest minds and all of the greatest superheroes and say, okay, we need you guys to figure out how we can save all these Earths because they're getting wiped away by this anti-Monitor wave, or this wave that's destroying all the Earths. Okay,
Right.
so we have that part from 1. 2 is more, okay, what can we do? And I'm loosely going off of this. Crisis on Infinite Earth is 2 is trying to figure out, okay, the why. All right. We already know that Harbinger is Supergirl, right? That's who the Monitor took over, and he basically said, okay, you will be my hero. You will go out there and you will try to basically bring in all these great minds to kind of like bring them onto my ship, so therefore we can be able to figure out what we can do to salvage and save this. More of a pet to her than anything when she was sent away from Krypton, and he realized that, hey, this is the one person that I'm going to take in, try to save, even though that he didn't want to. I think the ship wanted him to kind of save and salvage this, kind of save this
Right.
person going forward. And
I kind of think Supergirl developed Stockholm syndrome.
she did. She was like that with the Monitor because that's all she knew, and the fact that it's kind of like she reminded me so much of a Gamora type character, or a Nebula type character. That's mainly, or more Gamora and less Nebula, because Nebula he kind of broke down, and she But anyways, I'm trying to make comparisons to more.
How many times can we bring up Karen Gillian references today?
That's true. That's true.
She should play Mara Jade.
Yeah, if she was
Yes.
our drinking game, we'd be in really big trouble.
Hey,
And-
Disney, if you're listening,
And what's that? And then two, I believe it started with we started to try to figure out the understanding behind what was it? Psycho Man? No, what is his name? Psycho. It's Psycho.
Psycho
something.
Pirate.
Psycho Pirate. Yes, Psycho Pirate. What all he had to, what his involvement was. A lot of instances where Constantine kept telling Barry to go back and try to figure out where everything happened at the beginning. And we keep thinking that the beginning started when the Anti-Monitor came on the scene, which is technically not true. So we're going to segue into, I'm kind of skipping over a lot of bits on this stuff like that, because I feel like once you, it's a long binge for the multiverse. But to watch all of these movies, you're gonna have to sit down and watch them in like a day. I'm Mike, am I right? Because they're like almost ding to 2.5 hours long.
well, no, I wouldn't say they're 2.5 hours.
Well, like
It depends on how much you Steven skip through it.
You
Yeah.
put them all together, and they're close to what 5.5 hours, something like that.
like 5.5 hours.
Yeah, it'll take a good chunk of an entire day to binge these.
Yes.
I mean, and I liked them. I thought they did a decent job on them. I think I like part 3 the best, though.
Yes.
Out of the
Mhm.
3 of them, I think part 3 ended satisfyingly. So I like the end that they gave it.
Mhm.
It had an emotional part, especially to animated fans, Batman animated fans. There was an emotional scene.
A couple of them actually. Yeah.
Well, there was one that was extremely emotional. I even welled up a little bit when it happened. I was like, "Oh man, this is it. This is."
Yes.
And we'll get into that a little bit later. But overall, I enjoyed 3. I thought it was a really good version of it.
So
Yep.
we want to give our ratings real quick before we go to spoilerific territory.
Sure. What do we use for a scale for this?
Dead Supergirls.
Let's go with Earth Prime.
Okay.
Earth Primes.
Earth Prime over Dead Supergirls.
There we go.
We're gonna number 8 out of 10 Earth Primes. But Earth Prime means there's only one.
The ex-pastor is the one who gets all demented on us.
All right, let's do this. What we know? Say 1 out of 5, or you said? I mean,
No, it's 10.
1 out of
So
10.
So
Yeah.
10 Earth Prime. So okay, I'll start. I give it. I did do some Steven skips in it, you guys. Just saying. Just to answer.
I figured that was coming.
Answer Angie. Angie was like, so 10 minutes, Steven? No. Wasn't that bad. But there were some parts I was like, okay, move it along a little. So but it wasn't too bad. I am thankful that we started getting answers overall. Yes. And so I enjoyed that. So I'll give it a good 7 out of 10. It was good to watch for our discussion. Will I watch it again? Probably not. But it was good to what's the word I'm trying to say? It was good to have for our discussion today. But getting answers on who's who and what was going on, finally, we've already got 2 movies in. I'm like, okay, what's happening? What's going on now? So yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I will give it 7 also. I think this was the strongest of the 3 parts. Satisfying end. Overall, I like the story. Not keen on the Anti-Monitor's design. I like the original comic book design better. I mean, I thought it was a cool design if they would have created a new character for him, but I wish they would have went with the comic book version of the Monitor better. I just think it's a better design, and that could be for animation purposes. It may have been because he was a lot more simple in the animated series than he was in the comic book. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I think it's well worth a watch. Like Steven, I'm not sure I'd watch it again. Maybe not. I'd probably read the comic books before I'd rewatch it. But this also has a different purpose than the comic books, because the comic books is bringing all of the multiverse in the comic book world together, and this is basically bringing all of the Tomorrow World together, so they can start an entire new generation of animated stuff for DC.
What's Tomorrow World? I'm sorry, I'm not. That was what they all ended up becoming. Was the one Prime?
Tomorrow World is all of these, like Flashpoint. Oh gosh, I can't think of all the different DC animated films that's included in, but everything over like the last 4 or 5 years. What was that, Aaron?
The one where they included like Apocalypse and all the stuff that happened with that after.
All the Constantine stuff.
Yeah, Constantine and everything. Yep.
All of that is considered the Tomorrowverse, and this is basically James Gunn's way of wrapping up the entire Tomorrowverse so he can build in his entire new animated stuff going forward for the
Gunniverse.
The Gunniverse.
He's going to gun it. Let him do his thing.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, I'm giving mine it's about a 7. I would say that this one, it took some interesting, because I watched it. I tend to watch these things like twice. I'll watch it one day and then I'll set on it and then I'll watch it again after the fact. I've already understood like the comics iteration of it, so I can kind of get a really good assessment on like, okay, what's all happening.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there will be points in there where Steven, you are correct. Like it's just like, okay, you have like 2 different Supermans, and one Superman is not really talking to the other Superman, and like, what's his purpose of doing the things that he's doing? It's kind of, or you have these variations of Batman, or it's kind of seemed like it's only one Supergirl when you would think there would be more of them. But and then you have all these other different type of heroes that are like, they take more of a forefront than the other ones, and then and some of them are more relevant in the background, and then their power is just like, oh, you got the same power as that one person that was on that Earth, but we need it now, so do some stuff. And that's the part where it was kind of like, just like, oh, I didn't realize I was important, and it was just like, okay, we're gonna go there. So, with that being said, yes, it is definitely a 7 out of 10 primes, and hopefully, would I go back and rewatch it again? I probably would, but I tend to rewatch, old animated movies anyway. So old Marvels and DC animated. I like the DC ones anyways, because they actually do, well, except for this one, actually do put things in a pretty straight.
I think DC animated is one of the best. They do a much more better job.
Cheers.
Than no offense, than Marvel does as far as their animated goes.
Yes.
I think I'd be more apt to rewatch Flashpoint than Crisis, though. Of course, Flashpoint is only one movie and not 3.
Yeah.
And the Constantine movies and stuff like that. Yeah, I will watch it. I like those.
Actually, Constantine would be a good rewatch right now, because that stuff is all leading into Crisis.
Yeah. Okay. So
Does it?
And I don't want to get too far into the spoiler territory, but that was a very interesting twist at the end that they put in perspective for that. And I was like, oh, okay, so they are all kind of like tied together. I thought they were their own separate movies.
No, the entire Tomorrowverse is all tied together, and I do like that. That I think that was a great idea, and they they've had this plan since the very beginning, and I do like that. So that means they had an end in mind. They had a beginning in mind and end in mind, and that's kind of cool when they can work that all out. And they pulled it off. I think they pulled it off pretty well too.
I'll say the one thing too that was kind of like throwing me off. You ever notice that the animation styles kept changing throughout the series itself?
Yeah, and I think that's to indicate the different Earths and stuff, the different people from the different Earths.
Okay.
Maybe. That's just my interpretation. Anyway.
Well, we got Batman animated series Earth, which the Paul Dini. I was like, oh no, don't kill them, and then they're dead. Sorry, spoiler alert. We gave our score. We're in spoilerific territory, everybody. Sorry.
Let's talk about that a little bit. So that's called The Bleed and Survival.
There we
So
go.
following the Anti-Monitor's devastating attacks, the surviving Earths are relocated to the Bleed, a space between universes by the Monitor's remaining energy. The heroes struggle to maintain stability as temporal anomalies and incursions disrupt the Bleed. So we had the Bleed going on, and during the Bleed, we lost significant animated
Earth.
series.
Yeah, Earths,
And-
different Earths and stuff like that.
Somewhere I had a list of it. Hold on. Where did it go? Right
Just
here.
think, if your favorite animated version of DC was on one of those Earths, it was knocked out. Like they took out Brave and the Bold. They took out, what was it? It wasn't the Lego ones. No, that was
Well,
the Lego ones.
No, they didn't take out the Lego ones. So I got a list here. All right. Glimpses of different DC animated universes were shown. So you have the Tomorrowverse, which is, the overall of all these films. This is the overarching animated universe in which the Crisis on Infinite Earths trilogy takes place. So all previous Tomorrowverse films are represented. This includes, here we go, Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Good movie, too.
Yeah.
Justice League War World is decent. Justice League Dark. Loved Justice League Dark. That was great.
Yes.
Then it goes on to the DC animated universe, also known as DCAU. Notably, there are references to the DCAU, which include iconic series like Batman the Animated Series. Ouch, that hurts.
Yeah, that was bad.
Superman the Animated Series, Justice League, and Justice League Unlimited. So those are the DC AUs that got destroyed. Then we had the Teen Titans. Speaking of Teen Titans,
Megan's version, yeah.
Hashtag Megan's Teen Titans.
Megan's version is knocked out.
That was sad too. I hated seeing the tower just be gone. It's like, oh man, that hurts. So that's that. Those were the casualties of the Bleed. Now I thought it was and the Super Friends.
I was gonna say Super Friends, the Brave and the Bold, right?
Yeah, from they didn't show the Brave and the Bold.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was Super Friends then.
Yeah, Super Friends.
Super Friends.
In fact, I pointed that out to Megan. I was like, I wonder if they're going to destroy the Brave and the Bold, and they didn't. It didn't disappear. I was like, either they forgot about it, or the Brave and the Bold still exist in this universe.
I mean, you didn't see him go to the Earth Prime, so I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
The question either he was like, I ain't finna deal with this no more. I doubt everything you say, Spectre, and I'm gonna, I don't believe this is gonna be it. And he walked away.
Right. So during that, we get an emotional scene, and this is very significant too. We actually get a final scene between Batman and the Joker just before the Bleed happens in the Batman animated series. And that is the final scene of
It was the final scene between the conflict between Batman and Joker. They had their one lines, and Batman was like, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out like this. And it was like he was about to punch him. It was dope. I love it. And and I think they had, what's that, Mark Hamill's voice acting
it was for that one. Yes.
And then it was Kevin Conroy's voice
Yes.
for it.
And
Yeah, that was dope.
I think that was Kevin Conroy's final works right there,
Yeah.
which made it very emotional because it's like, oh wow.
Yeah, because they even did the end title saying, in memory.
Mhm.
Yep. And so that's it. We get no more Kevin Conroy. I mean, of course they could do AI and, and stuff, but I would rather him not do that at this point. I want to leave Kevin Conroy's, his voice, as an honor of who he was and stuff, and just remember him for who he was. So that was the emotional part of this movie.
Okay.
How is that the emotional part? And you got a picture in the background of Superman holding Supergirl when she basically tried to do what she did. That should have been
You're
the
right.
emotional element.
If Kevin Conroy hadn't died, if he hadn't died in real life, then yes, the Supergirl would be the emotional part in this film.
I didn't care. She was whiny. So
Yeah,
I'm
well,
just saying.
She was having.
You were too whiny.
What's that? Brainiacs? I think.
Killed the monitor.
Yeah.
It's all my fault because I killed him. I'm like over and over. I mean, come on, skip. Oh, there's another episode. There's Supergirl. Oh, skip. Oh, Supergirl's inside the sun. Oh, okay, I'll watch this.
They said what, and then, you notice how Lex was kind of pulling the strings in that whole situation. Okay, so they did talk about the variations of like, what's it, Sinister Six? I want to say, no, not Sinister Six.
Right. So Lex, I got here in my notes. Lex Luthor plays a complex role, having used the Psychopirate to communicate with the Anti-Monitor and betraying some of the Earths. However, he also contributes to the effort to find the Anti-Monitor's weakness.
Yeah.
So in Lex's betrayal, he does help the rest of our heroes. So it's
it
kind
kept
of
with his character that the
I agree.
ends justify the means.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was like, it's not like I got a whole trove of kryptonite and I can't use it against him. What good is that going to do if I can't, he said, but we do have something that can be able to, that has the power of, the retained energy. And that's when he kind of try to, he plays mind games. I'll say Lex is very much like Joker in this situation, like with Batman. He likes to mind F him a lot and try to trick him to do stuff in order to benefit himself. So so he was trying to get him to do in Carol Danvers. I mean, I'm not Carol Danvers. Why I keep mixed up my Marvel characters? Supergirl was just like, all right, well, I'm going to do it because it's all my fault. And she was like trying to, have this redeeming arc about it. So they kind of had an understanding to where she did that, which to no avail, it didn't amount to anything in the end. So that was the one sacrifice. I'm sorry. That was the one of the sacrifices that happened that could have been an emotional tidbit. Obviously Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill's character as Batman in there. That's an emotional tidbit that was there. So that was like hammering it back to back.
They sure were. Yep.
And I think the final one, and if you want to take this one, Mike, if you want to go at it with like Wonder Woman's character,
Oh yeah.
But I don't want to get too far into that part just yet before we introduce another element to the story.
Okay. So next we have the War World and Hope. So Jean, or Martian Manhunter, utilizes War World, harnessing positive emotions to power it as a weapon against the Anti-Monitor, and the Psychopirate is used to amplify hope and love throughout the bleed. Which that's interesting. Psychopirate is used to amplify hope and love, and then he dies.
Yeah, consider his role in
They all die
versus this one. I think that was his redeeming factor in this situation. That's how I'm taking it. Like he redeemed himself from like
he redeemed nothing.
Yeah,
he was used. It was not by choice.
Kind of torture too,
so
Yeah, I don't think he had a redeeming factor. I really don't.
Okay, well,
There was no turning point for him. He
he
was
had a hard life when he was growing up. People picked on and bullied him, so he had to use his powers the best way he knew how, is to get over on folks.
Okay.
Like Sparkle
he still made his choices.
There's a lot of serial killers that had hard lives to his kids, but that doesn't excuse what they've done. So
I get it.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, don't look in my basement.
Oh,
Don't check the
I'm just
deep
kidding.
freezer.
anyway, so going on, next we have Supergirl's sacrifice. Supergirl delivers a heroic sacrifice, flying into the Anti-Monitor's core, destroying him. This echoes the iconic death scene from the original comic book, and yes, that's probably one of the most iconic comic book covers ever. Is Superman holding the dead Supergirl, probably alongside Batman, almost identical to it. Batman holding Robin.
Exactly.
After his-
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent, iconic covers. Love them. Two of my favorite comic issues, or comic cover issues, artwork in history. Love them. Fantastic.
Yep.
So it's cool that they paid homage to that. I really like that.
See, the more we know, we can always draw back the things that we remember.
Okay. moving right along. Do, 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 do.
Okay, so
The Miracle Machine and Prime Earth.
yes.
With the multiverse still in danger, the heroes decide to create a single unified Prime Earth using the Miracle Machine. This process requires sacrifices, and the Flash plays a critical role. The heroes travel through the portal created by the machine and to be reborn on Prime Earth. So this is where we are actually taking all of the different Earths from the different multiverses and combining them into one single Earth,
Okay.
leaving a monoverse.
So the reason why they had to go back and when they after Supergirl killed that variation of the anti-monitor and everything in that nature is because it wouldn't stop the bleeds from happening, and also the monitor is like a cancer to the universe itself. So there were more anti-monitors popping out of that thing like it's no tomorrow, and it was that they were like trying to figure out, okay, what can we do, how can we save this, and to save what the little that we have remaining in this particular pocketed universe that they're in. So I guess somehow, some way that they figured out that there is this thing called the Miracle Machine, if I'm not mistaken, and and it was the oldest thing that was alive. What happened now?
I
Andy
love
was saying
Andy's
one
comment.
world to rule them all.
One
Yeah,
world.
technically, yeah.
That's great.
Anyway, keep going about the Deus Ex Deus Ex
Machina.
Machina. Well, yeah, whatever you say it, I can't say it on sub.
That's all
I
good.
could-
Oh my gosh, we have a miracle machine.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is the part that kind of threw me for a loop too, because it was just like they could not do anything to stop the anti-monitor from coming through and basically wiping off all these Earths. It was just how it was. So I guess in some sense that and this is where Constantine and a lot of his lore in this movie come into play on trying to figure out, okay, he couldn't remember that, and then that's when Batman did his Batman thing and found out, like, okay, what all? Yes, he does his detective work. You know, he was skilled person out there to try to figure out what all happened in this regards. So after that was all said and done, they kind of did a time jump to try to figure out how to find Constantine in this world that was like a saloon or something like that, and then he had to go back and try to figure out what he did to Barry in order for that to for all these events to take place. So just to condense it down, Constantine put a spell onto Barry. Barry ran back in time to try to go kill Apocalypse because they figured that Apocalypse was a center point in time, and if he didn't exist, that's how all of these stuff started to. That's how the crisis actually
All these splits into multiverse decisions, or
Mhm.
decisions would split into other multiverse opportunities. Yeah.
That's
And-
that's the age-old question.
Yeah.
If you could go kill Hitler as a baby, would
Exactly.
you or should you? I mean, that has been used in so many different stories. Doctor Who did it in
Yeah.
Genesis of the Daleks. With Doctor Who, it was the Doctor sent by the Time Lords back in time to when Davros is a child, when Davros first created the Daleks, and he could destroy the Daleks before they're actually created, and the Doctor struggles with it because he's like, do I have the right basically to commit genocide? You know, because that's what he'd be doing. So it's an age
Was
old.
Karen in that episode?
No. That was long. That was long before Karen Gillian was born. So that's Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor, and the genuine article, you might say.
Love it. I will say with the ending, I did enjoy all these different opportunities. So there wasn't just wasn't just any one ending. There was like, oh, we did this, and this person did this, and this person did this with it, and then, but I did not like the
Cheers.
quote unquote, take a drink. Much more better.
Well, it's because
We said Karen Gillian. Yeah, sorry.
Gillian. Cheers.
Yeah.
I was wondering. I was like, all right.
Yeah, good call, Angie. Angie caught us on that one. I would say I did not like the Miracle Machine. I'm just like,
Okay.
we went through all of this, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. Then I thought the whole thing was Supergirl. I was like, yeah, that was okay. That was cool. Blowing up the Anti-Monitor and like, dun dun dun. Now all these new Anti-Monitors are coming up all at once. I did like
Mhm.
the explanation that was kind of like I know you said cancer. My brain went to the white blood cells, like
Oh yeah.
to attack, kind of a thing. And I
Okay.
did like that explanation. I thought, okay, I can go with that. That's not bad storytelling and
Mhm.
stuff. But by golly, I'm going to pull out of my back pocket. I've made you waste 6 hours of your life watching the entire Crisis Infinite movies. We're going to just fix it with the ta-da, the Miracle Machine that needs a
Yeah.
sacrifice of an immortal. So I'm like,
You've always had the power to go home.
what?
Was is
Yeah.
was it an immortal or
Always
is it
had the
just?
power to go home.
I don't. What was it? It
Yeah.
was I think it was because of immortality that Wonder Woman have, but I think it just required sacrifice. Period, and then they didn't have enough to sacrifice, so she realized she could make the greatest sacrifice because
Constantine was not good enough.
yeah, he wasn't good enough. Yeah, exactly. So who was going to be strong enough to be able to kind of will Mjolnir in this situation?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not trying to bring up Marvel as much as I am, guys. I'm trying to
No,
keep
it's
it
okay.
DC focused, but I just it's one of those things where
If
I
you
was
got a
thinking to
good
myself,
analogy over to Marvel, there's nothing wrong with that.
We'll
I'm
just
just
edit
like,
you out. I'm just kidding.
yeah, I know, right?
I'm kidding. We're live.
Yeah, we're live. Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, so Carol Danvers. I mean, I'm sorry. God dang it. Wonder Woman. She ended up sacrificing herself. That basically opened up a portal that was that created this new Earth Prime for all of the superheroes to go through. But they won't remember anything of their past. They won't. They won't know who each other are. They'll just exist on this new Earth and everything. Some like it, some don't. So, but the thing was with Barry, and this is one of those things where that was kind of bogging my mind. Barry Constantine lost his memory to a certain extent, because of how far he went back. He couldn't remember, which kind of threw Barry off in his on his journey trying to go back and kill Darkseid. And the thing about it is, I don't think he didn't kill Darkseid or anything that nature, or Apocalypse. I'm sorry. He ended up.
Yeah.
I know, right? I just said Darkseid. Yeah, he didn't kill Apocalypse. His presence being there was basically that's what killed him. And because of the spell that Constantine put on him, it was a dead man spell or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was a
Darkest
thing
of
that kind of
spells.
threw me for a loop as well. He was like, "Oh well, if we got to go back because the apocalypse, he has to exist. What's that? What you call it? Doom World or Dark World or something like that? That has to exist, or Machine World.
War
I think is what-
World.
War World. There we go.
War
That
World.
has to exist. So in the new, I guess in the new, if there's a new Prime world, in Earth Prime, then there is an existence of Apocalypse that is in that universe. going
Well,
forward.
War World having to exist just means that James Gunn's going to use that in the future.
Yeah.
That's all that means. Now, I did get
Mm.
one of my favorite lines in this film from the scene where they're all heading to the new Earth Prime, and that's when Superman and Lois are talking,
Yeah.
and Lois tells Superman, because Superman's he's concerned, he doesn't like the idea of the whole merging of the multiverses, because he's afraid, of losing memories, losing, loved ones, so on and so forth. And I think most of all, he's afraid of losing Lois.
Yes.
And Lois says to him, no matter what, we will find each other.
Yes.
And now I'm going to call back Marvel,
Mhm.
because that reminds me of the story of Spider-Man One More Day.
Mm-hmm.
And when Mephisto puts the spell on Peter Parker and MJ, and Peter does not like it, and MJ tells Peter, no matter what, we will find each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it just reminded me of that, and I'm like, I like that. That's a good line, and it just shows the strength of Clark and Lois's relationships, which I think is very important in the DC universe. Just like in Marvel, I think Peter Parker and MJ's relationship is, that strong and that important too.
Okay.
You mean that's a dyad in the Force?
I still don't know what the hell I'm
Yo, what?
damn Star Wars sequels.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Anyway,
So yeah, everything. I guess everything goes back to normal. Yada 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 at the end, and then we all live happily ever after on Earth Prime. Yay! That's it.
Except for Constantine did not walk through.
no, he didn't.
So help me
Constantine,
understand that a little bit.
Spectre.
So what's happening there? Because I was like, oh, he didn't go through. So what does that mean?
Okay, so if you remember in the last Constantine, he basically thought that he was more or less damned to hell. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
And I think what Spectre is speculating here is, no, your damnation is not what you think it is.
Mhm.
I think he goes on is what's happening here. Now, he may go on with Spectre in more of a spiritual realm, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% clear, but that's just kind of what I was interpreting this at.
He probably
Yeah,
lives
that's
in the realm of Dormammu. Like Dormammu's in a different pocket dimension, and that's what he kind of he knows how
That's
to go.
Marvel, not DC. Stop it. I'm just kidding.
All right.
I just tease it.
All right, yeah, Doctor Strange. My bad. I can't turn it. I'm sorry, guys. I can't
He's
turn
crossing
it
the
off. I can't
streets. I
turn it off.
can't handle
Yeah,
it.
yeah, he's got his
Stop it.
Marvel t-shirt on.
I can't turn it
Hey,
off.
I got a Rippaverse shirt on, so
Hey, I got a 2 Geek shirt.
Jesus.
Steven's the only one representing.
No,
Oh,
I love Constantine, and I've enjoyed Constantine,
Yes,
and
me too.
and really, Mike, it's because you love Constantine that I've been like more, interested. I love Matt Ryan playing the character and stuff like that, and so because of all that, I was like, wait a minute, what just happened? And so I got kind of lost there a little bit with him particularly. So that's why I had to ask.
I
But-
think
but
they're
you-
just saying that he wasn't damned the way he thought he was.
okay.
Because he felt guilt for more or less creating the multiverse and destroying it both.
yes.
So he felt major guilt for that, and I think because of his sacrifices and the things that he had done,
Yeah.
Spectre is saying, no, your ending is not what you think it is.
Ah,
That's just the way I interpreted it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
yeah.
I thought it was pretty interesting. Like the question he didn't go through. It's a lot of them that didn't go. Well, it's a.
Oh
they
no, the
didn't
question
go-
went through.
Did
He just opposed it. He just
Oh.
didn't like it.
I didn't think
but he
went
did go through.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
he did go through.
He's a stupid
He-
character,
he-
anyways.
He went in under protest. That was his
Oh,
comment. Yeah.
yeah. All right. We got that one.
Now-
I did like the story. What's her name? Is it Nightshade? It was the daughter of Batman and Catwoman. Batman, he
Oh,
didn't realize. Yeah, Huntress. I'm sorry. Yes. So that was a nice little homage to that because Batman was just like, I don't know who you
I
are.
love the
Their connection was actually good.
I love the Bat Family scenes. The Bat Family
Yeah.
scenes are the best.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you're putting together some of Batman's counterparts in their universe. They lost their Batman,
Mhm.
and then he really hasn't had in the Batman that we have here. He hasn't gotten his Robin yet, and he doesn't have any of these counterparts yet. So
Mhm.
he's all new to the whole team thing, and he's kind of learning from them how to
Mhm.
work as a team. So I thought those were interesting aspects. I really enjoyed that. Another surprise that I got in it Was Blue Beetle in all 3 movies?
I think so.
I don't remember
so.
him. Okay.
Because he was supposed to be like one of like the techs, right? He was like one of
Yeah.
the smarter ones.
Right.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing him. I think he was like in the first one. He
Well-
was in the first one.
I didn't notice it until, if he was in the first one, I didn't notice it until the third one. But all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, as soon as I heard his voice, I went, wait a minute. I know that voice.
Mm.
Yeah, that voice is Anakin Skywalker of the Clone Wars. It's Matt Lanter.
Matt Lanter. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, that is so
Yep.
awesome. Matt Lanter is the Blue Beetle. He's the original Blue Beetle, Ted Court. But
Yep.
yeah, I was so stoked when I found out, wow, Matt Lanter is in there. So
That movie was
So-
stupid, by the way.
Which one?
Blue Beetle.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
I haven't seen it.
I enjoyed it. It was. I
Oh.
mean, I don't know the character and stuff like that, but I was like, oh, okay, I like the character. Okay, real quick,
Okay.
I did ask Perplexity AI because Perplexity AI it researches the
This
web.
is a new one. I don't know Perplexity.
Oh yeah, it's nice. So
You're using $5 words, man.
I know. And so it says it. So I asked it, I said, can you help me understand the bigger story of Constantine from the end of Crisis of Infinite Earths Part 3 movie? What happened to his character and what did the ending mean with him mean? Here's the answer. It says John Constantine's story in Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3 culminates in a bittersweet and complex ending that reflects his character's journey and past actions. Here's a breakdown of Constantine's fate. Number 1, and there's like 5 points. Number 1, Constantine's past actions. Constantine had previously instructed the Flash to travel back in time and kill Darkseid as an infant in an attempt to restore his Earth. This action inadvertently caused the shattering of the universe into multiple realities, leading to the crisis. 2, punishment and redemption. Earlier in the series, Constantine was punished by the Spectre for his role in causing the multiverse crisis. He was transformed into a pariah-like figure, forced to witness the suffering he had caused across various worlds.
And Steven and I, you and I covered that movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
The one where that happens. I don't remember the title was, but we covered that.
Oh.
We talked about
3, final decision. At the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, when the heroes come to create a new monoverse to stabilize reality, Constantine is given a choice. Either enter the new monoverse with the other heroes or face the consequences of his actions. Number 4, Constantine's choice. Constantine initially prepares himself for punishment from the Spectre. However, instead of judgment, the Spectre offers him hope. Despite this unexpected mercy, Constantine chooses not to enter the new monoverse.
Yeah.
Meaning of the ending. Number 5, Constantine's decision to follow the Spectre to an unknown fate rather than entering the new reality is significant. It suggests self-imposed penance. Constantine feels he doesn't deserve a happy ending and chooses to punish himself.
Yeah.
Or acceptance of responsibility. He acknowledges the consequences of his actions and refuses to escape them. And then a form of redemption. 3 is by not entering the new reality, Constantine ensures he won't inadvertently cause more harm. Constantine's ending is left ambiguous, with him following the Spectre to an unknown fate as the multiverse is destroyed. The open-ended conclusion aligns with Constantine's complex character, leaving his ultimate destiny to the imagination of the audience.
So basically, I got it right.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to quote Homer Simpson. I am smart. SMRT smart.
There's also a link to a YouTube video, Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 3 recap. Ending explained.
Nice.
I
Nice.
should have watched that.
There you go. Yeah, it's just synopsis. That's funny.
All right.
All right.
Anyway, thanks. That was Constantine's one of my favorite characters, so I appreciate you guys letting me.
Yes.
No, I really like Constantine also.
So quick question. Would you like this variation kind of put in perspective to conclude the multiverse, or would you like Marvel's variation, like the movies was? You know, in this case, what they had was the gauntlet, Tony Stark, snap, boom, and everything went back to the way it was to an extent. Or would you like it to where they had a miracle machine to say, okay, we're just going to basically hit the reset button, go start new fresh?
Ooh.
That's a good question. That's a good question there.
Yeah, that's kind of hard. I mean,
I-
are they really that different though? I mean, because if you think about it, with the snap, we got people that came back, but not everybody came back, right?
Everybody came back in that time frame, but you did lose some folks
The
in
second
the
snap.
process. In
Right.
the second snap, yeah.
So in DC, you have some characters like there's multiple Supermans, and basically they're merged into one Superman, or multiple Batmans merged into one. But we also lost characters too.
You lost an
Well-
Iron Man.
Huh?
You lost an Iron Man.
In DC,
And then, I'm sorry. In Marvel, you lost an Iron Man.
Okay.
You lost the.
Excuse me for a second there.
Just go ahead. I'm sorry.
Anyway, but so I don't know. I think they're kind of the same. They're, I don't know.
A Deus Ex Machina.
it's
kind of
a
thing?
very interesting perspective because I'm like, all right, cool. So we have you have your Doctor, you have your Doctor Face, and you have a new Wonder. Like they show a new Wonder Woman. She's brand new and everything in that nature. Even though she was sacrificed in order to create
Right.
this new world. You don't see anybody else's, introduction or anything in that nature. You just see that, okay, well, Wonder Woman's not going forever, but you don't see a new Carol. You don't. I keep saying Carol Danvers, but you don't see a new Supergirl in the new world because if she died in this old one, then is there going to be a new one? Probably not. I don't know. That's one of those. That was my takeaway. Anybody that died in the process that wasn't able to transfer it over into the Earth Prime, they just don't exist.
Eventually, there will be a new Supergirl. I mean,
Okay.
Let's just face it.
I figured just the one that was still alive didn't come over, but from my understanding, it was the merger of all into one.
Right.
So all the ones that were still
Alive.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe there were some still alive. Were they the last one? The last?
I don't know, because they didn't really build on there being multiple Supergirls like they did. There's multiple Supermans,
Mm.
and there's multiple Batmans, multiple Aquamans, multiple Wonder Womans, so on and so forth.
Yeah, Aquaman died before they even got to that point. Remember, he went back to his planet when the Antimonitor knocked it out, so he didn't walk through to the New Earth Prime.
Not that Aquaman, but
It was probably a
there
different
could have
variation.
been. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
bet
you
you
can
there were
see
other
all the
ones.
ones in the background. I thought that was a pretty interesting.
I mean, you couldn't
element to the
couldn't
story.
show every single DC character walking into the new monoverse.
All right, y'all, let's go.
Now your movie just became 6 hours long, and 4.5 hours of it is watching characters go into the
I feel you.
monoverse. So,
That was like a Noah's Ark. What was it? The ship they were on, the satellite that they said they had. Their satellite was like a Noah's Ark type of deal. It was pretty funny. So that kind of I was trying to bring it back around to what you had said before, the scene where if David, it can one stone change the course of history, and David got hit with a spear instead of knocking Goliath out. That's kind of the same in the same I say context of Barry knocking out Goliath before at his most vulnerable, before he can actually do anything. And considering Barry didn't even actually, he wanted to, he did the vibrating hand and try to stop his heart, but he just didn't have it in him. Which I feel like that was a really good vindication for his character to me personally, because I'm like, Barry's not a killer. He's not going to kill a baby, regardless of how messed up this baby is going to grow to be, or that's just not his character. So him just dipping out of there, that was actually a pretty good callback to it.
The character they should have sent to do that. They should have sent Deathstroke. And Deathstroke wasn't in this at all.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting to know. They should have sent
They should have
Cable.
sent
There you go.
DC's greatest mercenary.
Sort of Cable version of DC.
He'd have no qualms killing him. He'd be like, all right, boom, done. What do you want me to do now? And how much money you gonna pay me?
You did see Lobo in there, though. I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
interesting. Lobo was in there. Did he die on that one Earth? And I thought Lobo was very, very hard to kill
Lobo is very, very hard to kill.
because he's one of the ones that he can go toe to toe with Superman.
Yeah. I'm sure there was a version of Lobo that walked onto the Monoverse because Lobo has to go on.
Yeah, Lobo is definitely pretty cool. He's like Cosmic Ghost Rider or something like that.
Oh
It's
my
pretty
gosh,
cool.
Lobo! Is,
Another Marvel reference.
I can't stop, guys. I'm sorry. I see Angie, you in the comments calling me out. I see it. I can't stop.
Oh gosh.
Lobo, the main man. I love Lobo.
Yeah.
Lobo's awesome.
Well, we probably need to start wrapping up. We've already been over an hour, so that's been good. Good conversation.
Yeah,
Theron,
really good
thank you.
discussion on this. Yes, thank you, Theron.
No problem. No problem.
It's been good. So, any last comments about Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 3?
Just if you want a decent end to the Tomorrowverse, I say watch it.
Yeah, I'll say if you have a good, a good 5 to 6 hours to burn, don't do it all in one sitting. I would say
Yeah.
just break it up and then
Take some breaks.
yeah.
We're
But
Steven
no,
Skips.
it's a good series.
Or Steven
Yeah.
Skips.
Or you can do that too.
Skip this.
You know, when I watch Zack Snyder's version of the Justice League, I have to take breaks in that too because man, that is long. Holy
It is
cow,
long.
it's super long. Not to
Hey,
mention
did
it doesn't fit my TV.
Did you see that picture? Did you see that picture of Gunn and Snyder together?
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Okay. Well, with that, everybody. Whew.
Sorry
All
to
right.
burst
We're
your
just-
bubble.
I wasn't for sure.
That's James Gunn trolling everybody. That's all it is. He's a major freaking troll.
They're gonna make what's that DC universe like Guardians of the Galaxy. I mark my words.
Yeah, well, I got words on that too.
Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us before we fall down the rudder here a little bit more. First off, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. Please check out our website at www.2geeksmic.com. www, that's the number 2, GEEKSMIC.com. There you will find all things connected to Two Geeks. And if you want to reach out to us, you can do it at show@twogeeksmic.com. Mike does a really good job of keeping up on that. And then also, if you do go to our website, you can also check out our merch. But that website also that takes to our merch is www.twogeeksmicmerch.com. And you can also support us, and you can get to our Ko-fi page also from there, ko-fi.com/2geeks, the number 2 GEEKS. And you can check out stuff there as well. Now, the website is updated with what we've got coming up in the next couple of weeks, but we've got some other stuff happening that we still have to figure out. Obviously, you guys know we're going to be doing next week Amazon show Invincible season 3. Soon after that, we'll be doing all of Reacher, of the whole season of Reacher, and talking about that. And if there's anything else you'd like to see us do, please let us know. Some things we're able to get to, some things not so much. But we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And anything else?
As far as our Ko-fi page, I got to put up the last of the diaries from the Immortality Code. I have two of the sets of diary entries on there, and I've got a third one that I'm going to start now or soon this weekend, hopefully. And other than that, please make sure and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble. And if you do follow us on any of those platforms, make sure to give us a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to them wherever you can. And if you can, please, if you can comment, please make sure you give a comment and leave a review somewhere. It doesn't cost you anything to do that, and it would help us. And other than that, speaking of YouTube, We go live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Well, most every Saturday morning. Last week we took a day off.
Right.
But yeah, we go live every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You do the math on the rest because I don't like math. And to round this out, please do not Steven skip this this episode because we are much more better than the rest. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
May the force be with you.